Okay, yeah. Last Saturday, Mississippi police officers burst into a home at 4 a.m. and shot an unarmed 11-year-old boy. They did this after having received a call from said 11-year-old boy at the request of his mother, because the father of one of her children had arrived and was making a scene, and she was fearing for the safety of herself and her children. Okay? So, luckily, I'm going to preface this story by saying that the child is alive. I mean, he's not okay. He's still in the hospital. Or sorry, he's not still in the hospital. He returned home yesterday. His name is Andarian Murray, and cool first name, by the way. Adarian is cool. That's a good name. So he's not dead. However, he was shot in the lung, collapsing it. He also had a lacerated liver and fractured ribs, rather. So the Associated Press does not say how many times he was shot. However, I would imagine a lacerated liver and a collapsed lung and fractured ribs indicate to me multiple shots. But luckily he is stable and he is now back home. So we'll watch the press conference here, just a short snippet of it.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
We'll see you at 9 o'clock Thursday morning unless the city acts before then. But don't hold your breath. Thank you.
He said, his words to me was, why did he shoot me? What did I do? And then he just started crying.
11-year-old boy.
Not been able to hear anything from the chief.
He shot him in center range in the chest. So the boy comes around the corner unarmed. If he's coming out with his hands up, or however they were, why do you haul off and shoot him? So this makes no sense. This man, Capers, is an ever-present threat to the citizens of Indianola's safety. He has to go. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I can't describe it. Like, he ran to me. He was bleeding. I held him. I held his wound. He suffered fractures to his rib. His lung collapsed. He's still on oxygen. He have a tube in his chest for the fluid. He got liver lacerations.
I don't think conservatives are going to cover this story, to be 100% with you. If they do, they'll try and see, like, they'll try and vilify the mother, I'm sure. But yeah. So this happened in Indianola, down in Mississippi. Yeah, I don't know for sure how many shots, Archangel. I just, from the list of injuries, it would seem to me like more than one, but that is not a confirmed fact. Okay. So here's the attorney for the family's version of events. Okay. Adarian's mother, Nicola Murray, said her son is blessed to be alive, but he does not understand why an officer shot him. This is the worst moment of my life, and I feel like nobody cares. That's my child, y'all, Nicola Murray said Thursday as she cried in the lobby of City Hall. Moore said Nicola Murray asked her son to call police at about 4 a.m. Saturday morning when the father of one of her other children showed up at their home. Moore said the man was irate and Nicola Murray felt threatened. He called the police to come to his mother's rescue, Moore said of Adarian. He called his grandmother to come to his mother's rescue. The police came there and escalated the situation. Moore said 2 officers responded and one kicked the front door before Nicola Murray opened it. She told them the intruder had left the home, but 3 children were inside, Moore said. Moore said Nicola Murray told him that Sergeant Greg Capers, who is black, yelled into the home and said anyone inside should come out with their hands up. Moore said Adarian walked into the living room with nothing in his hands, and Capers shot him in the chest. Indianola City Attorney Kimberly Merchant confirmed to the Enterprise Tocsin newspaper in Indianola that Capers is the officer who fired the shot. And if it's the shot, then I suppose it's just the one shot. Moore told the Associated Press in an interview Thursday that Indianola officials have suspended capers with pay during an investigation into the shooting. This seems to be standard procedure everywhere in the country, but man, he shot a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old kid. You know, like there's no there's no excuse for it, but unfortunately our legal system has recognized that there doesn't need to be a good reason for any shooting. The only reason a cop needs to justify shooting anybody in America is they felt threatened. You know, they felt scared, you know? Maybe this grown-ass man is going to argue in court that he felt threatened because he thought that 11-year-old was big. He thought that 11-year-old, you know, was gonna pull out a gun. The AP left phone messages Thursday for Merchant, Indianola Mayor Ken Featherstone, and Police Chief Ronald Sampson. They did not immediately respond. Nicola Murray and Moore were joined by a few other people Thursday as they sat in the City Hall lobby and sang, "We shall overcome." The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation announced Saturday that it is examining the shooting, as it does most shootings involving law enforcement officers in the state. And their statement through their spokesperson, Bailey Martin, said that the Mississippi Department of Public Safety is currently assessing this critical incident and gathering evidence. Upon completing the investigation, agents will share their findings with the Attorney General's office. Due to this being an open and ongoing investigation, no further comment will be made. So, yeah, there's not much more information than that, but just unspeakable, you know? Unspeakable evil. You're going there to protect this family, and you shoot one of the children after the mother already tells you the intruder is gone. You then yell, "Come out with your hands up," and a child comes out with his hands up, and you shoot him. This man needs to be fired yesterday. Nah, see, Catalina Gearbox, Barney Fife would never shoot someone because he was, you know, he wouldn't do that. I don't think Barney Fife, did Barney Fife ever shoot his gun? Oh yes, no, he does shoot his gun. It's just that in the show, he just continually shoots himself in the foot.
If you're not familiar with firearms, these babies can go off. Now watch this. Say somebody just sneaked in the back door and he's told me to reach. Now you say reach.
Barney, I ain't got time to play games. I got work to do.
Oh, come on, tell me to reach. Just say reach.
Okay, reach. Show it to us, Barney. Show us a quick draw.
Please, Barney, I'd
Yeah.
like to see it.
You want to see it? Yeah.
Okay, maybe he does shoot his gun a lot. My bad.
I said, all right, you guys. I'm giving you the count of three. If you ain't out of here on three, I'm drawing on you. 1, 2, 3. Removing a gun from the holster, you do it smoothly and safely. And when you return it to the holster, you repeat the process smoothly and safely. Out, smoothly and safely. Back, smoothly and safely. You don't just jerk it out. That's dangerous.
Man, even watching him around this child in the context of this story makes me nervous as fuck. But yeah.
Tell me, Sheriff Taylor, why don't you carry a gun?
Oh, I don't know. When a man carries a gun all the time, the respect he thinks he's getting might really be fear. So I don't carry a gun because I don't want the people of Mayberry to fear a gun. I'd rather they would respect me.
I don't know. Seems like this would have saved a small child who is now always going to fear police for the rest of his life. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like cops should not have guns. I don't know if that's possible in America, but ideally cops should not have guns. Like, a rifle in the back? Sure, why not? But like, a gun on your hip? Man, it seems like it kills a lot of people. Seems like it hurts like a lot of kids. A lot of 11 and 12-year-olds in America getting shot by cops. The main problem with adopting like a European approach to like police is that frankly, we have so many guns in America that like a pretty decent argument can be made that cops need guns in order to respond to in-the-moment crimes because people have so many guns. You know, there needs to, it's a symbiotic relationship. If we want to disarm the police, we got to be able to disarm America, and that's a very tangled web, you know? I'm not saying it's impossible, but we would need like some kind of federal buyback program of guns and then like remove like hundreds of thousands of guns from like circulation, you know? Like it would not be an easy thing to do. In the meantime, your kids will just die? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I don't have any when it comes to guns, I don't have any solutions for you guys. Like, the vast majority of Americans believe in common sense gun regulation, and like we still can't get that. And I think it would require a complete overhaul of like who is elected in our country to like achieve that, you know? Jack, the other problem is America won't ever be as culturally homogenous as most of the countries where strict gun bans are a thing. I don't think that plays a role at all. I think putting it down to like homogeneity of like culture, I disagree with that. And it gets, I think that argumentation gets awfully close to some negative preconceptions. Yeah, and that's the thing, Dithron. I would say we should institute, like, as a first step at the very least, you know, if we can get common sense gun reforms, you know, passed, I would argue then that we should also pass a gun buyback program to remove, like, you know, dangerous guns, serial numberless guns from circulation, you know? If you mean, like, a lot of countries don't have an established gun culture, like, I'll agree with you there. But keep in mind, like, a lot of the gun culture in America is really predicated on, like, several, like, Supreme Court decisions over, like, the last 30-ish years, you know? A lot of gun culture in America is relatively recent, and people just like to pretend that it's not, you know? Like, the idea that, like, handguns could be sold and widespread was, like, not really a thing until relatively recently. When was that? Mandatory safety training and updating it to keep your license. Okay, thanks. I was trying to find like the actual name of the case that I was talking about, but yeah, no. Yeah, the 2008 SCOTUS decision was absolutely devastating, you know? Yeah, 2008, by the way. No, not bumping uglies. It's just like moving furniture, jumping around. I think a kid might live up there. I don't know. Yeah, the 2008 Supreme Court ruling was the first time in almost 70 years that the Supreme Court had ruled on like the Second Amendment. And it is the ruling, by the way, that affirmed the individual right to keep handguns in the home for self-defense. Prior to that, that was not at all a thing established in our country. So, like, just think about that. It wasn't until 2008 that happened. 15 years ago. Modern American gun culture is younger than Batman Begins. Yeah. I recall an election in 2008. Yeah. Hey, boiled peanuts, how you doing? How's that new computer treating you? Hey, Sweet Miss Music. You have to step 1, force all the right-wing militias to relinquish their guns. Step 2, create a federal mandate. Step 3, finally demilitarize the police and reform. This would be a massive undertaking, but I honestly think that's the answer. Yeah, like, Sweet Miss Music, I think basically what would need to happen, right, is that you would need to massively demilitarize the police, but that would be like the last step, right? The first step would be common sense gun reform, and followed by like a gun buyback program to remove guns from circulation. And it could also work as a form of like economic stimulus by like the government is effectively buying back these guns at a fair market price. And not only would you have to do that, you would also like have to then, I think probably the standard for demilitarizing or breaking up these militias would be that you have to register the militia with some type of government entity. You'd have to like have a registered and properly run and organized militia in order to keep those weapons. And yeah, that would definitely it would definitely still be an undertaking for sure. You know. Okay. I'd be in favor of community armories. Yeah, community armories would be fine, I think. I also think that it'd be fine for like police to maintain like you know, like a shotgun or like a rifle in like the trunk of their car or something, but like something that cannot be pulled out as a first response, you know? Yeah, so a well-regulated militia, indeed, Bill Casey. Yes.